a very disturbing United States Supreme Court decision that everybody needs to pay attention to. The Supreme Court has said it is illegal for a citizen to sue, to bring lawsuit against Border Patrol agents. I kid you not. I kid you not. Put up the picture of a person who was actually a victim. He's a complicated character. Keep his picture up. Yesterday, the Supreme Court ruled that US citizens cannot bring lawsuits against Border Patrol officers violating the Constitution. This case dates back to 2014 when Robert Boule, the man you're looking at right there, attempted to sue an ICE agent that assaulted him, okay? He's owner of Smuggler's Inn. He was convicted of cross-border smuggling. Now remember, I told you this guy has a complicated past. So let me give you some background. He previously worked as an informant for ICE. Mr. Boule said he had served as a confidential informant for the federal government, helping agents find and apprehend people crossing the border illegally. That's a complexity to his background. Despite working with the federal government, I suspected that he was aiding unauthorized immigration or immigrants from Canada to Washington, okay? So in 2014, this individual informed petitioner Eric Egbert, a US Border Patrol agent, that a Turkish national arriving in Seattle by way of New York had scheduled transportation to Smuggler's Inn. When Agent Egbert observed one of the vehicles returning to the inn, he suspected that the Turkish national was a passenger and followed the vehicle to the inn. So the agent, here's what's important. The agent did not possess a warrant. There was no warrant to enter Mr. Boule's property, okay? That's called a Fourth Amendment violation. Nobody's arguing that actually. On Boule's account, Boule asked Egbert, leave, get out. But the agent refused. The agent then became violent and threw the man first against the vehicle and then threw him on the ground. So what does he do? He sues the agent. He sues the agent in the proper jurisdiction, federal court, alleging a clear Fourth Amendment violation for excessive use of force and violation for unlawful retaliation. That's pretty open and shut, actually. The ruling that has recently come down says, well, it's up to Congress. It's up to Congress to decide whether federal officials can be sued despite the Bivens precedent. The High Court said in 1971 that people could sue federal officials for violating their constitutional rights. But over the last 40 years, the court has consistently declined to expand the kinds of cases called Bivens actions in which a person could sue. Most recently, in a case in 2020, the justices told parents of a teenager killed in Mexico by a US Border Patrol agent who fired across the border that they could not sue. The ruling is harmful. Put up the map of their jurisdiction. Look at that. The ruling is harmful, all right? The implications are massive for people living inside of the border enforcement zone. ICE agents can now easily evade responsibility, commit civil constitutional rights violations, and not be held accountable to the law. That is what this ruling does. Welcome to America. Adrienne, thoughts? Your internet law, this is massively unethical.
Oh, absolutely. And the thing is that this is a product of having this right-wing majority on the US Supreme Court, without a doubt. What they are doing is emboldening police officers and law enforcement and creating more barriers between civilians and law enforcement when it comes to achieving accountability. And as a result, there will be no change. These people are being deputized to engage in all sorts of civil rights abuses and shenanigans in general, to the point where we're creating almost this whole Gestapo setup, and nothing is being done. listen, this is a problem, especially since we've had precedent like Bivens on the books for so many years. And look at what they're doing, unearthing it and undermining it, just like they're about to do Roe. This is a problem.
Exactly right, and they've been doing it for decades, really. Ruling after ruling has chipped away at the application of Bivens to where now it's virtually non-existent. Doesn't make sense whatsoever. Congress does need to act if the court has said that. So now we have to put political pressure on the United States Congress, but it shouldn't even be that. This should be a common sense policy, public policy, no matter what.